is a big announcement. I'm happy that you guys are all part of it. Today, I want to give everyone this at the same time because I appreciate all of your hard work. We know that the one on September the 14th is big, very big. We sold over 12,000 closed circuit seats already in Las Vegas, unheard of because last minute during fight week days. Right now we have only 6,000 left. Together with the 16,500 sold tickets at the GM Grand Garden, there's almost 30,000 people already. Yet, the big one got even bigger. We all know that Floyd is the top pound-for-pound fighter in the sport. We all know that he is the highest paid athlete in the sport. We all know that he is the ultimate showman and entertainer. Fights are the Super Bowl of boxing, and we know as well that his nickname is Money. Well, Floyd is putting his money where his mouth is, creating the single biggest pay-per-view event of all time by adding, after Mayweather versus Canelo, the next most anticipated fight in the sport of boxing. Yes, it's done. Yes, Danny Swift Garcia versus Lucas the Machine Matthysse will happen. Yes, it will happen on September 14th as part of the one. The one just got another one. I really want to thank Showtime and Espinoza. I have never networked with that kind of commitment to boxing. It's absolutely unheard of. I want to thank Al Heyman. Lots of media people thought, Al, that you would never pull the trigger, but you did. You did make this fight. Thank you, Al. And thank you to Floyd Mayweather for your commitment to the sport as a fighter, now as a promoter. Most importantly, thank you, both fighters, for agreeing to this fight. These are true modern-day gladiators. All these people who wrote that Danny was scared of Lucas, well, you just have a lot of egg on your face. Danny Garcia is never scared of anyone. He wanted that fight more so than any other fight. I'm really pleased that this is happening. I know, having been on the road for the past 3 weeks, from first the Broner fight and then the cities and coming back from England, I used to be asked always, is Mayweather going to fight Canelo? Are you going to be able to fight? And once we announced that fight, I was asked everywhere I went, are you going to be able to pull it off? Garcia and Matthysse. Yes, we did. Pleasure now for me to introduce a man who has been very instrumental to help make this happen.
Thank you, Richard, and I'd like to thank everyone for joining us on the call. As Richard stated, Floyd made it very clear to us that he wanted to give the fans the biggest and the best fight on his card possible. And with this fight being made, Garcia versus Matthysse, this is going to be a tremendous card. This fight is a main event alone, and it has Fight of the Year written all over it. It's just another example of how Floyd has put the sport on his back by he's trying to bring awareness to the sport with this fight getting the worldwide platform it truly deserves. And in my eyes, this is just another step in the right direction of making boxing a mainstream sport. As Richard just stated, this is a tremendous fight. You have Lucas Matthysse, who he's running everybody out the ring. Nobody wants to fight him, but Danny Garcia stepped up and said, I want to be the one to beat this guy. You know, Matthysse has tremendous punching power, but we must not forget, Danny Garcia can punch with either hand. But this is a fight that the fans, you know, will get to see, and they will leave away from watching this whole card, and they just will want to come back and see the next event we put on. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on this call, and I'll turn it back over to Richard.
Thank you very much, Len. We did not have to add this fight. Tickets are sold out. Records are being broken. Yet, added this fight. This is without any question a thank you, write that in capital letters, a thank you to the fight fans, an attempt to bring new fans to the sport and show the world how great our sport of boxing is. Loaded pay-per-view cards is a hallmark of Golden Boy and Mayweather promotions. we firmly believe that consumers deserve these kind of cards. The butterbean days are over. This, among many other things, sets us apart from our competition.
Hey, Richard, how hard was it to keep this quiet through your whole staff and everybody?
It was very difficult, and I really felt bad because you and Dan and Steve and of the media guys kept calling me and asking me, and I've been working diligently to close doors to try to keep it quiet. But you sure were on my ass, and so were the others. So I'm glad in the end it worked out.
How difficult was it to make this fight? And I don't know how much detail you can go into, but
well, I tell you, from a fighter point of view, obviously Lucas Manny Garcia wanted, so you really didn't have much of a debate or much issues with the fighters. But this is by far, and by very, very, very far, the most expensive fight ever put as the second fight on a pay-per-view. This is one of the most anticipated fights in the sport. These are two great fighters. And it said Fight of the Year written all over it. My first choice all along was to try to find a way to put it on September the 4th. It would have been much easier to put it on a separate date, and for us as a promoter, it would have been lucrative as well. But this is really for the fans.
Hi, I have a couple questions for Richard and Leonard. Leonard, first of all, you were talking about Floyd's commitment. Is the money that Richard talked about, is that tangibly coming out of Floyd's end? If this fight wasn't on the card, would Floyd be making that extra money?
Well, I don't want to get into the details, the financial details of it, but I'll just say that Floyd made a commitment to make this fight happen, and he wanted to get it done because he wanted the fans to be able to come away from watching this whole event and say, wow, we got our money's worth and some.
What, did his thinking on this change over time? I mean, obviously there was a fairly good undercard in May, but this hasn't always been the case. So we've had these kind of fights on an undercard. Did his thinking evolve, or did somebody bring this to him and he agree with it?
Well, these are the kind of discussions that Richard, myself, and Al have had over a period of time. These are the things that happen when you got Golden Boy and Mayweather working together, bringing you these fantastic events. And things like this you'll never, ever see done again. We're attempting to try to take boxing to a whole nother level, and Floyd's ultimate goal is to make boxing a mainstream sport.
And then two other questions, and this one, Leonard, either you or Richard could answer, but does this in any way give the winner the inside track of potentially fighting Floyd if Floyd were to win?
Our focus is just on September 14th. There are a number of guys, everyone in the sport wants to fight Floyd, around those weight classes who, from 40 to 54, there's a whole number of guys that, want the opportunity at the Mayweather sweepstakes. But, both guys are tremendous fighters, and come September 14th, I can't wait as a fight fan myself to see this fight.
Thanks, Leonard.
Well, the thing, Kevin, is Floyd keeps beating everybody, and the list is getting longer. It just doesn't get shorter. I agree with Leonard. They all line up, and everybody wants to fight Floyd. But as it relates to your first question about the money, it would have been much easier if we went to Floyd and say, hey, Floyd, let's put this fight on, and you've got to pay for it. But it really was a partnership between whether promotions and Golden Boy Promotions find ways to make this fight happen as part of the card. And yes, there were of course Floyd had to approve it, and all captain of the ship, so he had to approve it, but it was up to us to try to find as well additional revenue sources, seeing it from sponsors, it from from foreign television sales and so on, so that some of the costs associated with the fight could be carried by other sources.
As big as this makes the card, even bigger than it was already, we already knew that Floyd versus Canelo was going to be one of the biggest, definitely the biggest fight of this year, one of the biggest fights of the last many years. I'm wondering, from your point of view, how much do you think it adds to the actual bottom line of pay-per-view buys? Is there anybody out there that was on the fence about buying Mayweather Alvarez and now all of a sudden is pushed to buy the fight? Or are you just looking to do the giant audience you were going to do anyway and have them see another top-notch fight and be that much more invested in the sport?
This is a huge visibility event. I agree with you. And so I think as the leading promoters sport, we want to take on the responsibility as well to show you fans, because I think they're going to be on this kind of event with Canelo and Mayweather. You are going to see non-boxing people who have never seen a boxing match before, buying the pay-per-view, watching it in the movie theaters or bars or closed circuit or being at a friend's house. They're going to be watching boxing for the first time. We believe there's going to be a lot of people watching boxing for the first time that night. And I think we want to take advantage of that. We want to be able to deliver them not just a great main course, but absolutely stellar appetizers. And this one here is, as Leonard said, and I agree with him, this is a Fight of the Year candidate going into the fight. I want people, when the night is over, when they turn off their TV, I want them to say, wow, that was amazing. I can't wait. Boxing. And I think that is what this fight adds.
Richard and myself have been saying for quite some time, our objective is to bring more eyeballs to the sport. With putting these Mayweather events on, they're spectacular. I mean, the fights are getting bigger and bigger. Floyd has brought this awareness to the sport that hasn't been done in quite some time. And the whole objective is to bring these eyeballs to the sport where we continue to uplift the sport in a positive way. Make people talk about boxing the way they talk about other mainstream sports. And this is just another step in the right direction. And the best is yet to come. You're going to see more of this kind of stuff. And we're not done yet.
Not done yet, meaning not done yet with this undercard, or just in general?
Just in general. Just in general.
And now, Richard, is there any money left over for other fights on the card? Since this is obviously a very expensive fight.
No, we will. I think we're working on the rest of the card, and as I said, we believe in the great menu of fights, and the other fights which will be on that card, which we're working on, will definitely not disappoint. I can assure you that.
Just a quick one. You guys have any concern that? And I mean this in a good way, really, that Matthysse Garcia could steal the spotlight that night, or do you welcome that?
Leonard, do you want to answer that?
Yes, we welcome that. And if I hope they do steal it, because we'll put the icing on the cake in the main event. I mean, like I said, this is a fight. I mean, that as a fight fan myself, you have to be excited for. I mean, like I said, both guys are tremendous fighters, and so how can you not be excited about this? And I think that all the new viewers who will tune in, they will come away from watching this card, and they will be geeked.
That's it.
Yeah, I think, I can see myself at the post-fight press conference asking guys, do you think who was the one to know? And so I'm sure that Danny and Lucas are going to try to do exactly that, what you said, Robert. They're going to try to steal the night.
Hey, I just had a quick question. I was wondering if Danny and Lucas are going to be undergoing drug testing with USADA or VADA or one of the organizations for this fight.
Yes, they will.
Including the two biggest fights that can be made on the same card, do you think it forever changes the pay-per-view landscape of the way boxing does pay-per-views? Like this card becomes the new gold standard. That's my point.
Well, I have no question that it will become the new gold standard, and I think if you have promoters who make a commitment to put these kind of fights on, then step forward to generate new fans. I think we've shown that. I think Mayweather promotions have shown that we have a commitment to deliver solid undercards. I think this one here is just taking it a step further.
Could you clarify for me what titles are going to be on the line for the fight in Garcia?
Well, Danny Garcia is the WBC and the WBA champion, and Lucas Matthysse is the WBC interim champion. So it will be for the WBC and WBA world titles.
Great. Both those titles are on the line. Perfect.
Correct.
I just wanted to comment, and maybe I could get a response from both of you. There's always been speculation or rumor, innuendo, that Al Heyman would never put his own fighters together in the ring, and this certainly led to that. Can you speak to that? And when you were discussing this with Al, how compliant was he about putting his guys in the ring together?
Well, I don't know where these rumors of Al not wanting to put his fighters together started. I have a suspicion from where it started, and I'm sure you guys know what my suspicion is. I'm having to tell you.
Sure.
The fact is, first and foremost, you have to realize Al Heyman is a huge boxing fan, and he believes, just like Floyd does and Leonard does and I do, the best fighting the best. So he would be doing his clients a disservice if that means when you sign with Al Heyman, automatically you cannot be in other big fights, because he advises most of the big names. So again, that is like, I know where these things came from, but it's absolutely nothing could be further from the truth than Al Heyman trying to have fights which involve fighters with both, where he advises both sides. I don't know, Leonard, if you want to add anything.
No, I think you covered everything. We know where those rumors and stuff come from. We won't even, address that.
We're really excited about these news today. Great time to be involved in the sport of boxing, fan, as a fighter, as a promoter, as a media guy, because this is exactly kind of announcement, these kind of events which are taking the sport of boxing to a totally different level. And so thank you all. Leonard, do you have any closing comments?
No, just as you touched on, like I said, we're just excited about giving you guys and the fans, a tremendous event come September the 14th, and we can't wait to put it on.
Great. Thank you all, and you'll hear from us more. Thank you. Bye-bye.